How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Gujarat Titans finally lose enough wickets for their middle order and lower order to come into play. There are runs across the board. Sai Sudarshan leads the charge. They score 117 in the last 9 overs to finish with 217 for 6. We look back on that first innings and the total that Rajasthan Royals now have to look to gun down on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout in the continuing company of Sanjay Bangar, Wasim, Jaffer, Matt Roller. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. A total that falls somewhere between what Mr. Bangar and Mr. Jaffer predicted. But Sanjay, thoughts on the score, assessment of the pitch?
A wonderful wicket to bat on, and the ball was coming in nicely. There was a little of pace and bounce which Jaffer exploited really well, the standout bowler. But apart from him, we just felt that Rajasthan Royals had to have a sixth bowling option to take a little bit of a pressure away from the other bowlers. Under such conditions, batting friendly conditions, you certainly felt that they were under the pump, and right throughout there were contributions in the batting department. So all in all, a wonderfully compiled innings from Gujarat Titans.
Not the first time since the advent of the impact player rule that we're wondering about Rajasthan lacking a sixth bowler.
Yeah, I think they missed Hasaranga. Somebody who could take wickets in the middle overs. Thikshana didn't look like, even though he's taken a couple of wickets, but didn't look like putting any pressure. Him and Tushar have went for 50 plus. That has costed them more than 100 runs in that 8 overs. But all in all, I think Gujarat batters batted with a lot of intent. Good wicket to bat on. There is a still chance for RR because the pitch is going to get better. If at all there is any dew, it's going to make things easier for them.
Yes, it was 107 runs in the 8 overs combined between Deshpande and Thikshana. What stood out for you in that innings?
The thing that really bugged me actually was RR not giving Jofra Archer a third straight over in the power play. I thought given he was bowling with such good pace, I think he hit 152 kilometres an hour, given he'd broken the game open with that wicket of Shubman Gill at the start of his second over. He was bowling with an attacking field to Jos Buttler as well. I thought that was a real opportunity, and it might be, as Wasim said, related to the fact they were worried about their allocations.
Pick that up, Sanjay.
To counter that, I would say they were worried about who would bowl the middle over, because they needed somebody with pace in the middle overs as well to, unsettle batsmen. And there was a chance wherein maybe at Shahrukh, or even if Shafin had to come in earlier, you required that. So that could be the reason behind why Sanju Samson was a little bit reluctant to use him right 3 overs straight up. It tells you that it's only one way. Like, they have a wicket-taking threat in Jofra Archer, but apart from him, the bowlers from other end are literally doing a job of contentment rather than looking to pick up wickets.
Thoughts on that same decision? Because that pace that you want to hit the batters with, is Archer likelier to get that when he has those 2 overs just behind him with the still new ball?
Yeah, in those conditions, because the pitch was doing a little bit, the ball that got Shubman Gill out actually nipped in. And we've spoke about Jos Buttler struggling with that kind of delivery. So you would have to risk it to get that partnership, broken. But it's a catch-22 situation. Whether you want that 1 over in the middle, is definitely going to bowl 1 over in the end. But yeah, you would want to risk it to take a wicket in the power play and probably get into the game a little bit more.
While we're talking about his third over, don't want to forget what did happen in the first 2. The way he rattled Shubman Gill, who's a batter he's disturbed a bit in the past as well.
Yeah, the ball coming back in fuller length. We just thought that whatever I've seen of Shubman Gill in the last 8 or 9 months, he's tightened his defense on the front foot. But here I felt that he was in no position to play any shot, neither a defensive shot nor an attacking shot. And the ball just came back in. And this is not the first time that he's gotten out in that fashion. So teams will certainly look to bowl a fuller length again, because they've seen that in T20 cricket, because the mindset is always to go for runs. Batsmen can be out of position, which Shubman was in tonight's game.
Now that's the ball that will make a lot of the highlight reels. But the ball that followed, Jos Buttler coming in, first ball, recently a man who's just left the English captaincy.
Yeah, and I'm sure Butler would have been thinking, if only I'd had this version of Jaffer Archer when I was captaining him in the Champions Trophy. He looked absolutely at his best. As I said, he's sustaining his pace up around that 150 km/h mark at various points for most of his first 2 overs anyway. And yeah, then to post a short leg and a couple of slips to his former England captain as well, it was a real statement of intent, and that was, I think, why, especially given GT's batting so top-heavy, I was just that little bit disappointed that they didn't really go for the throat.
Yeah. Let's tuck into the GT batting now. The Rajasthan bowling is something we'll perhaps revisit at the end of the game, because you remove Jaffer Archer's 1 for 30. That's 187 runs conceded in the remaining 16 overs. But Gujarat's batting, and let's start with Sai Sudarshan, consistent right from the start of this season. What stood out in this effort?
I mean, the clarity as also the precise footwork, and that is helped by the wonderful basics that he has. Doesn't look to overhit the ball, is quite creative as well. It's not that he only wants to play in front of the wicket, but anything, opportunities to score runs behind the wicket as well. He's got those skill sets as well. So a beautiful version of playing the conventional way as also the modern T20 way, and doesn't really risk too many shots in that sense, that he rarely looks to clear long off or long on, but he's always looking to hit pockets. Even when Sandeep was bowling, he was looking to hit over covers. So overall, I think he's just knows this game really, really well, and playing at this particular venue is one of his strengths.
Wasim?
Yeah, I completely agree most of the points. Those innovative shots, even one of the shot where he stepped out and then hit over third man for a 6, and then again he uses the space and plays that ramp shot. And that has just, typical, like a test cricketer's technique. You put him into any other format, he'll fit in nicely. I'm really surprised at how well he's playing in T20 format. Looking at him, this is probably the format you look like, he's going to struggle, but he's taken like a fish to water. So, really happy. He's among the race for the orange cap.
Yes.
Last year also he was there and thereabouts. So, wonderful to see a young player playing like that.
He's obviously a young guy, but has only played a handful of international games. Do you think there's a format which you can expect him to play for India before too long?
Well, the way Indian team's playing T20 cricket, I think it's a bit more time. Priyan Sharia, he's come into that. Probably he'll come into that race pretty soon. The way he's playing, but I would actually tell it. Would like to put it that I don't mind him getting into that England tour for the 5 Test match series. He's somebody who's played in county cricket, has done well for Surrey. I won't be surprised, and I'll be actually saying that he'll be in that trip.
Yeah, when it comes to the T20 mix, perhaps the other 3 openers on show tonight are thinking, hang on, we are ahead of him in that queue. In Jaiswal and Samson and Gill, there's Abhishek Sharma, and as you mentioned, Priyan Sharia will make waves. But since Wasim mentioned, curious to know your thoughts on whether you see Sai Sudarshan perhaps quickly being involved in the test setup.
Well, it all depends on what Gautam Gambhir is thinking, because at the moment, the way T20 is being played by India, they're not looking for 200 scores, they're gunning for 250, 260. That's where Abhishek Sharma, Surya Kumar Yadav, Sanju Samson, Tilak have all gotten hundreds. The top 4 has gotten hundreds in the South African series. So at the moment, I don't really think there is room for Sai Sudarshan still to break into the T20 setup. But he could be slotted in if India feels that the template has to change in some manner, and they want a consistency as well as a factor to be considered.
Without being too critical, if we see the breakdown of his knock today, is perhaps the slowdown in the middle overs, which can happen at times, the area that he next builds on as far as growing his T20 game further is concerned?
I mean, like Sanjay said, he's not somebody who looked to hit sixes down the ground. He hits pockets. And then obviously he had Shahrukh, to complement. He was the guy who was taking the charge. Then Shaf and Rutherford to come in. So he plays second fiddle. That's not his strongest suit in those middle overs. But he does surprise you, every now and then with his shot making. And that is something which is nice about him.
Go on.
I think this has been a pattern wherein he starts really well, And between the 21 to 30 ball phase, he slows down a little bit. Now, if I don't really know the reason, we'll have to dwell deeper into it. But that could be again a thing of who's batting alongside him. And if the scoring rate hasn't been affected, because at times you'll have a Shubman Gill or a Butler batting along with you, so that doesn't really hurt the team that much.
Yeah, if you look after the power play, it was 24 of 22, which was also a time when Butler had started amping up his own scoring rate.
Yeah, I noted down there was one small period of 3 overs between 9 and 11 overs where they scored 19 runs. That was the only part really where there was any kind of breaks on the innings, it felt like. But across the middle overs in total, that block of 10 from the end of the power play to 16th, 107 for 2. And I think that is a pretty perfect innings in terms of GT's template, one batter going big and cameos around it.
Yeah. We also got in this innings a chance to see Shah Rukh Khan and Rahul Tewatia have more than just minuscule cameos. They had faced 10 balls between them. Thoughts on those two knocks, which came at very different parts of the innings, of course?
I think GT has invested a lot in Shah Rukh Khan, and Shah Rukh is being pushed up the order, which wasn't the case earlier because he was being held back. Like in Punjab, he was literally the finisher's role at number 7 or number 8. Could free him up a little bit as well, gave him more time to bat. Didn't really start in the most convincing manner, couple of freakish boundaries, but some of the shots that he hit were really special. The one over covers, and he will continue to evolve as a batter because I'm certain that we have still not seen the best of Shah Rukh Khan as yet.
You've seen a lot of him up close. What do you feel is the ideal entry point for him, if not batting position?
I think today was fine in my opinion because they had set the platform and it was his job because Sai Sudarshan obviously is not going to score at 160, 170. So was a perfect time for him to come in and I think it came and did the job really nicely. I think Jaffer should have actually steamed in that over. It bowled few slower bouncers and that's the problem we talked about. You know, sometimes Jaffer does that. Had he bowled with a full tilt, you know, he would have Shah Rukh Khan jumping up and down. But I think Shah Rukh played a very impactful knock coming in at number 4.
And them not losing a wicket early after Butler's fall meant that they were able to keep their impact card intact because we could see Washington Sundar padded up very early in the innings.
Yeah, it's a game between two teams who use the impact sub in quite creative ways compared to a lot of teams in this league. I think it's fair to say, and a surprise not to see Washington involved with the bat today, but it obviously gives them scope to bring the extra bowler in, which should mean that they have the luxury of that 6th option, unlike RR.
But what it also tells you is that they are very happy to hold back Shofin Rutherford for the finisher's role because here was a situation wherein they could have sent him right after the wicket of Butler, which was around the 12th over.
It was the exact at 10th, 9.6 is when Butler fell.
So they want Rutherford to be batting probably the last 30 balls. And that's where they lack the power that he possesses. And hence they will have to keep on mixing these options. Maybe at times use Washington Sundar early up or Shah Rukh Khan as was the case today.
All right. The chase is just about ready to begin. Still waiting to find out who the impact sub is for GT. Might not have used it yet. Thoughts on the chase? What are the predictions? Do you see Rajasthan getting close?
They might get close, but I think GT is way ahead in this game as of now.
Yeah, I think the same. They've got a better bowling lineup, better spinners to bowl in the middle overs. Will be tough chase unless Sanju or Yashasvi get a big one.
Are you moving the other direction? Are you joining them?
I know Sanjay Sampson said at the toss he thought Jha might come into play, so that will be one to watch out for. But I feel like GT are ahead of the game and will close it out in the last over.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait on the impact sub. Can confirm that forecaster has GT as 73.5% favourites going into the chase, and it is Kulwant Khejrolia who's come in as the impact sub.
Yeah, he's quite a handy bowler. Bowls left arm, has got the skill set to bowl at across phases. So clearly, those 4 pace bowling options and those 2 quality spin options means that GT has enough resources to use the bowlers the way they like. So certainly a better bowling combination than what we saw in the first innings.
Yeah, it's a point of difference in the two sides, something we will revisit at the end of this game. Thank you, Sanjay, Wasim, Matt. Look forward to your company once the chase is done. Be sure to join us at the end of the game on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.